Okay, so tonight we're going to go through this React props and state lab. As I'm going through this, if you have any questions, please just shout them out, either over your microphone or throw them into the chat. Especially on a lab like this, I'll probably get kind of zeroed in and tunnel vision into the code. So if you throw it into the chat, I might not respond right away, but I promise I'll look over to my other screen and notice it eventually. Hopefully it won't be too long. So if you're asking a question about something specific, I don't miss it. But yeah, this is the props and state lab. So let's look at the README real quick, and then we'll get into it. You'll build a small React application where you'll update state in response to an XHR payload and pass props among components to handle updates. Time to put all of our hard-earned knowledge to the test. This lab is fairly big, which is true, and will require you to use everything you've learned up to this point. Don't be intimidated. There are plenty of tests to guide you along the way. In this lab, we'll be working on a front end for an animal shelter. Sadly, there still are way too many cute pets, not animals, cute pets, without any owners. Let's help them out by creating a UI in React. On a high level, you'll be working on several components that form the UI of the animal shelter adoption application. Users can filter for pets by type and can adopt a pet of their choosing. Once a pet is adopted, they cannot unadopt it. No backseas. There are several components that need your attention. All of these components can be found in the components folder, starting with the smallest one and working our way up. I think I've always missed this line here. Starting with the smallest one and working our way up. So it doesn't mean that we should do these things in this order. It just means that's the smallest component, working our way up. So here's our front end right now. We have all cats, dog, micropig. We have a find pet button, and we have pet component should go here. So we're missing a whole section. So let's get our components open. Source components. Got 4 of these that we need to work on. And that way we can get some more screen space here, screen real estate. I bet I can. I want it closed to the right. I want to do that. Perfect. And where's the, here it is. There. So the code window has as much width as the wraparound, and then we still got this over here, because this is going to be good to reference. It gives us instructions. So let's look at our tests right now. So we have some compiled warnings, but nothing that's stopping it from working. Okay, so we already got 3 tests passing, but we're probably going to break them along the way. App, filters, pet. All right. I think this lab is just a lot. There's different things to do. There's different ways to do it. Well, not different ways, so to speak, but there's different approaches. And yeah, this makes it difficult. So a lot of things clicked for me after this lab, although it was very difficult to get through. And it's hard to parse, which I think is part of what makes it hard. So just because we have all these tests in this order doesn't mean that accomplishing them in this order makes the most sense. Also, the tests aren't giving us enough information to completely accomplish all the tests, I think. And that's where the README comes in. However, the README also isn't in the best order for doing all these things. So it's really kind of having, and it's really hard to know kind of what orders to do things in when you're very new to React. So like coming back to this now, some things make more sense in the order that I would go through this lab. And I think that's a big part of what makes this lab so difficult and so challenging is if it was more step by step, do this, do this, do this in this order of the testing, it would be a little bit more simple, but it's not. So it is a challenge in that respect, but it's a great learning challenge. So let's dive into it, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Should definitely get through it. So pet should have a pet prop. Use the attributes in this data to render the pet card correctly. It should show the pet's name, type, age, and weight based on the pet's gender. Should have an is adopted prop. Okay, so that has things. I think we should start with the app as much as we can, because with React's unidirectional data flow model, all the data is going to flow one direction, and it's going to typically start, well, it'll start at the app, or the kind of the parent, and flow to the children. So it doesn't mean that it has to start in the app. It could start in the, I think, pet browser. App, yeah. So we have filters. App is a parent to filters and pet browser, and pet browser is a parent to pet. So I think going through the app first is going to, as much as we can, start getting our data flowing in the right direction. The app's initial state is already defined. Pass the right state properties to the filters and pet browser components. Okay, so we need to pass props to filters and pet browser. So filters should have a filters prop that contains all of the filters in the app state. All right, so filters should have a filters, and actually, let's keep a running tab going. So if I scroll up, it's going to keep running tests, and I'm going to have to scroll down a lot. So I'm just going to stay here, and we'll remember 19. So we've got 19 failing right now. Just have a filters prop that contains all of the filters in the app state. Hook up this value to the select component. So we won't worry about the select component just yet. So it'll have all of the filters. So we have this.state.filters. Cool. Let's see if we're still at 19. Okay, that's fine. Should have an onChange callback prop. This callback prop gets called whenever the value of the select element changes. It calls the onChange type callback prop with one argument, the value of the select. So this is another prop that we need to pass. And it says that we have an onChange type callback. So we know since it's a callback, it's going to be a function. So let's say this dot onChange type. We lost our closing for some reason. And we're just going to create a function up here on change type so that we have it already made. I'll throw the event handler in there for good measure. That'll be it for now. We know that we need to build it out, but let's get the props passed. We should have an onFindPetsClick callback prop. All right. onFindPetsClick callback prop. Actually, let's make both of these without event handlers for now. We'll leave them like this. I like making callback props the same name as the function they're calling. It makes it easier to remember what they're calling. So if we're looking in filters, we know, and we have onChange type, that function, we know up here it's onChange type. So it maintains consistency. Oh, and this is going to need to be a this. Okay. And it looks like that should be it for filters. We haven't implemented it, but it's there. hook up this value to the select component. So the select component. Okay, let's get back to our app. So we just did filters, now we need to do pet browser. Should have a pets prop. Pets prop. This is an array of pets that the component uses to render pet components. So it's going to be the pets from the state, this.state.pets. Should have an onAdopt pet prop. OnAdopt pet is callback prop. On adopt pet. I'm just stepping through this as I'm getting information at this point. Gets passed to its pet children components. So that's going to end up in a pet component. Should have an onAdopted pets. OnAdopted pets. Prop, use this prop to figure out if the pet is adopted or not and pass that result to the pet component in the form of an is adopted prop. Okay. So on adopted pets. Oh, adopted pets, not on adopted pets. Okay. I think that might make more sense. And that's going to be a function as well. All right. On adopt pet, or pets, on adopt pet, adopted pets. Okay. Did we miss one of our closes? Close, close. Somewhere along the way, we got rid of something. Closing div, closing div, closing div, closing div. Oh, maybe I got rid of a div in here. It looks like there should be one here. Because this component's wrapped in a div. 4 wide and 12 wide. Okay. That might be why the tests weren't changing. So we had 19 failing before. I would expect there to be less now. Nope, still 19. Okay. Oh, because filters don't actually change anything yet. Fetching pets, fetching. Okay. Let's look at app, because it looks like app has some work to be done now. App. Okay, so we were looking at app, I guess. We're passing those down. When filters component calls the onChangeType prop, when filters component calls the onFindPets clip prop, pass it, app component should fetch a list of pets using fetch. Okay, let's do that one. When filters component calls the onFindPets click. Excuse me. Should fetch a list of the pets using fetch. So our filter is this. So we're gonna, okay. So when we select something, we wanna change the state of this for the filter type. And then when we click find pets, we're going to use the filter type to fetch our pets and put them in this array. Okay, this is coming together again. So on change type, let's go into filter, filters. Okay, so let's wire up filters because I think it's semi-straightforward. So filter is going to be this.state.filters. So let's think. We have an ID. We want to change. We want to connect the value selected to our state. So that when our state changes, our value changes. And let's also, if I can get back here, open up our DevTools. Here we go. So right now, when we change this, we look over here. I didn't want to make this bigger. There we go. A lot easier to see now. We want to see this filter type changing when we change this. That's what we're the functionality we want to connect right now. So we want our value to be equal to this.props.filters.type. So we're saying it's coming in as a prop, filters. So I say this.props to get that filter, or this.props.filters to get that filters, and then .type to get this all. And I guess we could probably even drill that one down one more to .type if we wanted to. But I'm just going to leave it there for now and see. And that should, let's see. I guess it auto refreshes all. So it's not going to change now, but I think, or it's going to stay all. It's not going to change. It's stuck on all. So if we make this cats, yeah. Cats? I thought that would change it. No. Okay. So we've got that wired up. And now we need our on change. So when we select something different, we want to call our callback prop with this dot, what did we call it? On change type. So that will be those two wiring up, but now we have to do our on change type. So in our on change type, we're going to need to say this.setState. We'll use some ES6 in here. Say filters. And this.state.filters. Type. And let's pass that event. And we can use that there. That should connect the dots here. And change it. Let's see. Nope. Let's see what's missing. This callback prop gets called whenever the value of select element changes. It calls the onChange type callback prop with one argument, the value of this select. onChange, onChange type, filters, onChange equals this. Oh, this dot props dot onChange type. All right. Oh, we got the whole event. So we should want event dot let's see what's in here. Target timestamp type. I think it's event dot value. No, what is it? This dot set state filters. This dot state dot filters type to the event. We're passing. Make sure all our thises are onChange type equals this dot onChange type. Oh, I know what's missing. We didn't bind this anywhere. So we don't need props here. But we need to bind this because there isn't a this for that, this and that. So, or we don't need to bind this. We need to take care of passing this along here. So this dot props dot on change type b dot target dot value. And that's where we pass it along. And this calls this dot handle change. Now it should be wired up. Filters, cats. This dot props dot on change type. Let's see. Handle change, on change, this dot handle change. Value is this dot props dot filters dot type. Takes the event this dot props on change type b dot target dot value. On change type, this dot on change type. On change type takes an event, this dot set state. Oh, it's not spelled right. Handle as opposed to handle. Okay. Ooh. Now we should see it working. Misspelling. There we go. changes to dog, cat, micropig. Cool. All right. Now let's handle the click, because I know there's a click. Callback prop. This callback prop gets called when the user clicks the Find Pets button. So here, say on click equals this, or this dot props dot on find pets click. We have this on find pets click. Okay. Now fetch a list of pets using fetch. Okay, so now we make our fetch. In our on find pets click handler. So we need to fetch. Let's see. The URL of the API is API pets with an optional query parameter. If the type is all, send a request to API pets. If the type is cat, send a request to cat. Do the same for dog micropig. Finally, set the pet data on the state property pets to properly pass them to the pet browser component. Okay. So let's set up a URL. API is /API pets. Because we have two conditions. So if this.state.filters.type is not equal to all, then we need the URL. We're going to append to the end this query parameter of type with some string interpolation of this.state.filters.type. And then if it isn't, we're just gonna fetch. So now we take our fetch, we put our URL in there. Say then response. We're gonna turn that to JSON. Let's say console log. Then we should have our pets. We'll see what we have. This pattern of fetching, rendering JSON, and then setting it to something is common. And that's why I'm kind of I'm not checking what's coming back, especially because it's controlled and it's in this test. But I would typically console log this response and then console log and just work my way through it. All right, console. This.state.filletters. So filletters. All right. That'll reload. Okay, so we're getting an array. All the pets, which is what we want. Sets the pet data on the state properly to pets. Okay, so now we're going to call our this.set state and pets. And that should handle that. Let's see. Oh, 13. So we are passing some tests now. Okay, so we've got, yeah, that's the filters button. So we've got filters done, it looks like. And a couple of our callback functions, still got a couple more to go. On adopt pet, adopted pets. Actually, adopt pets doesn't need to be a function. That's in the state. This.state.adopted pets. That's one less function. So we have one more function to make in our app, callback function. Let's see if we could figure that out right now, or if we need to wait. When the pet browser component calls the onAdoptPet prop, you pass into it, add the pet ID to the adopted pets array in the state. Okay, so we should be able to do that without really knowing exactly what's going on. We just need to add something to this adopted pets array, and we don't have to worry about taking it back out because we said no backsies in the README. So we can say this dot set state. And we'll control that it's passing back this pet ID. This dot set state, what is it? Adopted pets. And then we'll use our spread. This dot state dot adopted pets. So we want everything that's in there already, and then we want to add that pet ID that we're passing. I think that'll do it. We had what, 13 tests before? 12. Let's see if there's anything left for app. No, okay, so all the app stuff is working. App and filters. What we're thinking is true. So we saw pet, and pet browser. Okay. So pet browser is the next step down from app. So let's go there next. Pet browser should have a pets prop. We've got that being passed in. Should have an unadopted pet prop that's being passed in. This callback prop gets passed to its pet children components. So it looks like, oh, this is probably supposed to be like this. So let's pass that prop. Let's see, what does pet get? Should have a pet prop equals. Use attribute in this data to render the pet card correctly. It should show the pet's name, age, type. Okay. Should have an is adopted prop. Using this prop should have an on, this is the one we're looking for, on adopt pet callback prop. So in the app, we're passing down on adopt pet. Okay, so this dot props dot on adopt pet. So that connects those. This callback prop gets called the pet's ID. Yep, cool. So our props are there now. Something's broken, but it's fine. Oh, because it's empty. That's fine for now. Yeah, we'll keep that. And let's see if I can. We don't need that to be code. Okay, it should still be broken. No, it's not broken. Cool. All right. Pet browser. So let's think about this. Should have a pets prop. This is an array of pets that the component uses to render pet components. So we want to render a bunch of pet components here in the pet browser. So let's do that. Oh, I'm in the wrong screen. Let's const pets. We're gonna create a bunch of these somewhere else. We're gonna put them in here. Equals. So we have this dot props dot pets, which is an array, And let's do a map on that. So we'll have each individual pet and its index. And we have this at a start because we need. Did we lose our? Yeah, we lost our other props. All right. Pet. I guess this helps actually, because this is where we're going to pass this actual pet. Let's say return. We're going to return a bunch of pet components. So we have our pet. Each pet needs an individual key so that React knows which one's which. So when we change things, it can identify them. And that needs to be a unique identifier. We have our onAdopt pet. And what was the other one? Is adopted prop. Using this prop, render the correct button in the pet's card. If the pet is adopted, show the disabled button. Otherwise, show the primary button to the adopted pet. Okay, so we need something. If the pet is adopted, show the disabled button. Otherwise, show the primary button to adopt the pet. So we need something I would think that is true or false. Some sort of prop that we can evaluate as true or false. And then, you know, if we say this in the pet component, if we're in here and we say this dot pet dot adopted, if it's true, then yes, it is adopted. We want to do something. If it's false, we want to do something else. So let's say this dot props dot adopted pets. So we have this array of pet IDs and we know that they're adopted. That includes, oh, let's say is adopted equals. So that's going to be the prop that we pass in. And let's say includes pet.id. Something's broken in here. Oh, one more curly bracket. So we're going to take the array of adopted pets that we passed into this pet browser. We're going to call .includes on it and check the individual pet ID that we're mapping over right now. And if that's true or false, that'll give us the information we need to work on this actual pet component and what it's showing. And I think that might be the extent of the pet browser. Let's check our tests. 10. Okay, cool. And they're all pet. Pet. Render. Oh, 6 of them are renders. So those are just some things. These are getting things wired up. Okay. So pet. I guess I should leave that open. We'll see if we need it. Should have a pet prop. Use the attributes in this data to render the pet card correctly. It should show the pet's name. Let's actually want to see if, oh, find pets. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. We got some functionality. We're rendering all these cards, but it just says pet name, pet type, age, weight. So we need to input some actual data in here. So instead of pet name, let's say, actually, do we still have that? Oh, that console log is gone. Where can we put it? We can put it in here, I think. Actually, that pet browser. Or no, we can look in the state. Where's React? Pets. Okay, so we can see the properties that pets have. So age, gender, name, type, weight. All right, so instead of pet name, you can say this dot props dot pet dot name. There we go. Try it in. Okay, cool. So let's fill in some more of these things. Type is, it's just type? Yeah, type. This dot props dot pet dot type. Gender. Let's do the gender. Actually, yeah, let's clean this up. So instead of doing this dot props for everything, let's set a couple variables. So we can say pet is adopted. It's dot props. So this is using mass assignment. If I'm remembering my terminology correctly, where all these are in the props as objects and we're just doing one-to-one. We have a pet object, so we're assigning it to pet. We have an is adopted object, we're assigning it to is adopted all at once to variables. And then we can say, do the same thing with these pet properties, or the props have all these properties. So like we have a props.pet, we have a props.isAdopted. We can do name, type, gender. What else do we have? Oh, it's 0. I think age. Yeah, age and weight. Age and weight. We can do that from pet. And now down here, we can just call name and type. And it just keeps our code looking a little bit cleaner in this section. So for our gender, we're going to need an if else or a ternary. Would probably be cleaner in this instance. So let's say gender equals, actually it's going to be a string, male. Then we want this logo, else we want that one. Invalid character. Oh, this should be a string. There we go. There we go. Cool, we're getting there. Age, weight, age and weight are filled in now. Where are we at on our test? Down to 4. Sweet. All right, all of our rendering is done. So now we got to hook up our methods. All right, last little bit here. So we have 2 different buttons, and we want to render those conditionally. So let's take care of these first. I want to do some JavaScript around them. So already adopted is going to be when is adopted is true. So this is a common pattern that is used for conditional rendering of things, especially if you have a Boolean. Or just something, let's say you have something you're waiting to come back from an API call. You can check your state. So this is checking the state in the pet browser as to if this is included or not. And if it's there and it comes back true, then you can render this. If it comes back false, we're not going to get to the other side of this and that's never going to render and show up on our page. And then we can just do the opposite for this other button. Adopted. So if is adopted is true, we're going to show already adopted. And if is adopted is true, then this is going to change this to false, and we're not going to show adopt pet. And the opposite is true as well. Oh, this is the scrolling I was talking about. Got to stay at the bottom. Okay, last two. Call onAdopt pet callback prop when the adopt button is clicked. You should call the onAdopt pet callback prop button with the pet ID. Okay. So onAdopt pet. Need to add an on click in here. We're going to do this similar to the other one. So let's actually take care of the functionality right here. Say handle adopt pet. And that way we just pass the pet ID and nothing more. Stop props. What was it? On adopt pet. With this dot props dot pet dot ID. Because these variables are bound inside this scope, this block. Although I guess, yeah, it's not that big a difference. I was thinking if this is changed to var, var isn't block scoped, and it would actually jump up here somewhere, if I remember correctly, for when it gets hoisted, and then we could use pet.id in here, but that's neither here nor there. And then on a click, this dot handle adopt pet. And I think that passes the test. I guess we can find out real quick. Yes. Whew. And it should be working now. Dogs. Click adopt, changes to already adopted. That doesn't do anything because there's no click handler. Our adopted pets is changing. Our filter changes. When we click find pets, our array changes to only the ones that are of that type. When we adopt pets, they're added to the adopted pet array with their ID number. And there we go. So now, I know I kind of blew through that. This is a really big lab, and it does take a lot longer when you haven't done it before. I think this is the fourth time I've done this lab now. But any questions about things? I'm sure there are some. Like this, I think could be a presentational component. I could probably refactor this down. Let's see. Const pet. Props. This. Render changes. I'm remembering my contact Are we factoring correctly? Oh no, that stays like that. Render return. Yes, so the video will be in the video app, the instruction app. The last time I went through this is also in there. So there'll be 2 videos of this at this point up there. So if you wanted to watch again very soon, there's one up there right now. This will get up, probably Monday or Tuesday. I'll get it uploaded because I'm off for the rest of the weekend. So after this, I'm going to be done for the night. And for the rest of the weekend, so I'll come back to Monday and download the video and upload it and connect it all together. Let me get that URL for you. There's the link in the Zoom chat to the videos.